Welcome to Jeremiah's Porch Talks. This is where we take a few minutes to talk about leadership and life right from my front porch here in Sykesville, Maryland. Rain or shine, this is a time for us to reflect, reset, and get ready for whatever comes next in our respective journeys. I'm Jeremiah. Thanks for joining me. Over the last few days, we've been talking about willing a brighter future into existence, not passively waiting, but actively choosing to build it. We've talked about dignity, what it means to honor the humanity in ourselves and others. And today, I want to talk about something that binds those two themes together, and that's respect. Respect often gets tossed around like a buzzword, but at its core, it's not about flattery or formality. It's about recognition. It's about seeing the value in ourselves, in others, and in our communities, even when that value is buried under layers of misunderstanding, disagreement, or past hurt. The word respect comes from the Latin respectus, which means to look again. That's the root of this whole concept. Respect isn't a one-time glance. It's a conscious decision to look again, and again, and again. To look at ourselves again with kinder eyes. To look at others again, not with just judgment, but with curiosity and empathy. To understand their story. To reassess how we're interacting with the world, and to decide how to do that better. Now here's the truth. You cannot go back to the beginning, but you can start from where you are and change the ending. That includes how we relate to people. That includes how we choose to think about ourselves. And that includes how we define what respect looks like in action in our lives. This brings me to a deeper idea, one we've talked about before, reinvention. We often think of reinvention as something flashy. New careers, new starts, new relationships, or radical life changes. But sometimes the most powerful reinvention happens quietly in our hearts and minds, and in our values and our beliefs. Not when others change, but when we look again at our own perspectives and mindsets with a new understanding. Respect means leaving room for someone to be more than the worst moment we saw them in. And it doesn't mean tolerating abuse or excusing harm. And let me just be clear about that. Respect is not a permission slip for any type of mistreatment. But it is an invitation for us to evolve, to stretch for empathy, to update our mental file on someone when we realize that we misunderstood something, and to demand that same care for ourselves. That we stop rehearsing our failures in our minds and start honoring our effort. Respect is how we allow growth to take root in ourselves, in others, and in our shared spaces. So here's our challenge for today. Pick one relationship. Maybe it's a colleague, a neighbor, a family member, or even yourself, and look again. Ask yourself, have I allowed this person space to evolve? Have I respected their effort or just measured their results or faults? And have I given myself that same grace? Now, let's raise the bar, not just by demanding respect, but for how we give it. Let's be a community that looks again, that listens more deeply, that makes room for reinvention. Because if we do, we don't just change interactions, we change lives. And maybe we even get to change the ending to the story. That's it for today. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me on Jeremiah's Porch Talks. Rain or shine, day or night. I'll see you next time. And always remember to keep the most important things.